Hey everybody, and welcome to a new video. Why do some photographs immediately grab your attention while others don't? And why do some photos feel more professional than others? Many photographers assume the answers lie in things like camera settings, lenses, or sharpness. But what if the answer lies somewhere else entirely? What if it's learning how viewers experience photographs? In this video, I'll show you what science has discovered about how people look at images, what that tells us about photography, and how it leads to what I believe is one of the most important photography skills that almost nobody deliberately practices: observation. I'll also show you some award-winning photos from photo competitions around the world, and we'll decode why these images won. My name is Simon d'Entremont, and I'm a professional nature and wildlife photographer living in Eastern Canada. I make weekly videos giving you photo tips or taking you behind the scenes for wildlife and nature photography. Subscribe if you want to see more. Now, right off the bat, an admission. I teach photography and spend a lot of time on settings and how cameras work. But let's be clear, these are not goals in photography. No one was made a great photographer by knowing all the settings on a camera. Knowing your gear and how it works is a mean to becoming a great photographer. A necessary step, but taking great photos comes from understanding what makes a great photo. And that is often what transforms a photo from technically good to genuinely interesting. Now, the first thing we need to understand is how people view photos. For decades, researchers have studied how people look at images. One of the most fascinating tools they use is eye tracking. Participants sit in front of a screen while specialized cameras monitor exactly where their eyes move. Researchers can then create visual maps showing where the viewers looked, how long they looked there, and the path their eyes followed through an image. This type of visualization is called a heat map. The warmer colors show where viewers spent most of the time looking. The cooler colors, less. Researchers can also create scan paths, which show the sequence of eye movements through a photograph. Now, what they discovered is fascinating. People don't simply absorb an image all at once. Instead, their eyes jump around rapidly around the frame. They look here, then here, then here, all in fractions of a second. Now, this research is often used in the marketing world to help design ads, for example, so that marketing materials are created in the way that companies hope best gets their message across. But knowing where people look is only part of the story. Researchers also wanted to understand how the brain makes sense of what it sees. Enter Gestalt psychology. Around a century ago, German psychologists noticed something remarkable. They were trying to understand how does the human brain organize all the visual information it receives into meaningful objects and patterns. The brain doesn't perceive individual pieces of information separately. Instead, it automatically organizes them into meaningful patterns and relationships. Or, as Gestalt psychologists famously put it, the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. From this, they developed some laws. The figure ground law is the obvious and probably the most useful one. The brain naturally separates a subject from a background. It tries to clearly distinguish them. Now, here's a pic by Armin Durgat. While there are many elements in this photo, the subject and the background are clearly distinct. Another is the similarity law. Objects that look alike are perceived as belonging together. Examples might be a flock of birds, repeating trees, or similar colors. Look at this award-winning photo by Benjamin Good. No one cares much about a cloud or a dead tree, but together they create an entirely new visual idea. Next is the proximity law. Objects close together are perceived as related. A parent and an offspring standing together immediately feel connected. Things close to each other feel like a group, and separated items feel alone and unique. Look at this photo by Thien de Gogh of a swimmer and a turtle. Being close together makes them a pair, but being different makes the juxtaposition powerful. One swims without man-made aids, one with. Both similar and different at the same time. Then we have the continuation law. The eye naturally follows lines and curves. This supports leading lines, rivers, branches, and shorelines. And this helps explain why some compositions guide attention so effectively. Check out this photo by Carol Nienartwitz. The leading lines of the structure in front make the shot and lead our eye to the structure in the background. What would the photo look like if we just cut off the bottom half? It just wouldn't be the same. Then we have the closure law. This is where your brain fills in what's missing, or at least wants to, like something partially hidden. The photo leaves you hanging or questioning like part of the story isn't being told. Look at this award winner by Santiago Meza of a young lady, now part of an armed militia. The peaceful butterflies contrasting against camo and a rifle make you wonder, what's the story behind this person's life? Now, why should photographers care? Interestingly, Gestalt psychology wasn't developed to study photography. In the early 1900s, psychologists were trying to understand how the brain organizes visual information in general. But what they discovered turns out to be incredibly relevant to photography because photographs are ultimately visual information too. By the way, if you follow me on social media, I almost always give a tip with my post, and sign up for my email list and download my guide for shooting backlit for free. Link below. The science of visual interpretation leads to an important conclusion for photography, though. It's that viewers, realizing it or not, are rapidly asking three questions. 1. Where should I look? Human attention is naturally drawn towards things that stand out. Bright areas, strong contrast, sharp details, faces, eyes, and colors. If you look at this heat map, these are clearly favored. Question number 2 is what's important? Once the eye lands somewhere, the brain immediately tries to determine whether or not that thing matters. Is this the subject? Is that what I'm supposed to be looking at, or is it a distraction? Images that answer this question clearly tend to feel stronger and easier to understand. And question 3, why should I care? This is where photographs become meaningful. The viewer is looking for emotion, behavior, relationships, or story, tension, or surprise. Anything that answers the question, why is this worth my attention? And here's the important part. If these are the questions viewers are asking, then becoming a better photographer isn't just about learning exposure settings or autofocus modes. It's about learning to observe the things that influence those answers. And that brings us to 5 skills that can dramatically improve your photography. And these are skills of observation. This is critical because photography isn't about finding a good photo, but making a good photo by lining up the winning conditions for a memorable pic. So let's put together the observational skill checklist. From each law will flow a skill of observation, something we should look for. The first skill comes from the figure ground law. Find a clear subject. The first question viewers ask is, where should I look? And one of the strongest factors controlling attention is a clear subject. What is this photo really about? Or who? Most beginners focus on the animal, person, or landscape, or as is too common, too many subjects. But experienced photographers look at whether the subject is visually separated from its surroundings. The observation skill is learn to see the subject and background as separate elements, and finding good ways of separating them. Examples are moving left or right to place the subject against a cleaner background, or wait for a dark subject to move across a bright patch, or change the height to separate overlapping objects. Look at this award-winning photo by Min Zaw. While there are lots of separate pieces to this photo, the subject is clear. Second is seeing relationships, fulfilling the proximity law. The question we ask is, which elements belong together? The viewer automatically groups nearby objects. So the observation skill needed is to learn to notice relationships between subjects. Examples would be 2 similar subjects standing close together, or a parent and offspring, or a person framed by surrounding objects. A lone subject may be interesting, but 2 subjects interacting often tell a better story. Look for the alignment of 2 things, and move around to separate them or bring them together as suits the photo best. Or create a juxtaposition between 2 things. Look at this beautiful photo by Shireen Collette. This pairing is beautiful, but so is the contrast in skin tones. The third is seeing patterns, the similarity law. The question here is what repeats. Humans instantly notice repetition. Examples are a flying flock in formation, rows of trees, repeated reflections, or similar colors throughout a scene. The observation skill here to develop is to train yourself to look for repeating shapes, colors, textures, and behaviors. Look at this winning image from Christopher Roche. Notice the pattern of these Tibetan monks, which satisfy both the similarity law, as they're all dressed similarly, and the proximity law, as they make a long line together. This is a photograph of the pattern of similar figures, not just one of them individually. The fourth observation skill is seeing pathways, as per the continuity law. The question is, where does the eye travel? The eye naturally follows lines, curves, and implied directions even. Examples like rivers and shorelines and roads, grazing animals, but also a person's line of sight. This is a classic strength of good landscape photographers. The observational skill is to learn to predict where the viewer's eye will move and to find things in your photo that will help that movement. You're not just photographing objects, you're creating a visual flow intentionally, up through the photo or across the scene to your subject. Look at this award winner by Ryan Fitzsimmons. The flow of the lava up to the fire at the end is what makes the photo interesting and artistic rather than just a documentary photo of the scene. And 5 is seeing beyond the photo, its potential, the closure law. And the question here is, what can the viewer complete mentally? The brain doesn't need to see everything. Examples are an animal partially hidden by grass, a silhouette, a reflection, a subject entering the frame, or a partially obscured face. The observational skill, the thing to look for, is to learn to recognize when less information creates more engagement. Beginners often try to show everything. Experienced photographers often leave something for the viewer to discover, an unanswered question, maybe something even outside the frame. Look at this award-winning photo by Protap Mohanto. The partially hidden owl is what makes the photo work. There's something undiscovered. Or even this photo of mine of a gosling goose looking outside the frame. What's it looking at? A bit of a mystery. Great photographers often aren't reacting faster or using better settings. They're observing more carefully. They're learning to see, not just looking. If you think this video is deserving, please give it a like, and I hope you can use these tips the next time you go out to get your own unique and amazing photos. I know you can do it.